time to be imposing a property tax on individuals who don't have the money to pay the property tax. It's going to stagnate the property market, it's going to impact on the recovery of the economy, and it's simply the wrong time to bring in a property tax. When you take on board, Minister, that people, there's a huge there's at least 12% of the mortgage holders in mortgage arrears of 90 days or more across the country. There's negative equity, and Davy stockbrokers estimate that 50% of all mortgages are in negative equity. Middle-income families are being squeezed. They're the people who don't get the third-level grants, don't have medical cards. They're being totally squeezed at the moment, and they cannot take any more. Their disposable income is gone. They're having to sit down with MABs. They're having to remortgage and refinance loans. And middle-income Ireland cannot take any more. The new vulnerable in our society is the middle-income families, and they simply cannot afford to take any more. And they're the same people that are going to be asked to pay this property tax on top of the initial household tax. You're targeting the same people who paid huge amounts of stamp duty during the economic boom. Those people paid on average, the average stamp duty payment between 2000 and 2010 was €20,000 per individual. Together with local authority development levies, which was paid up to, in my own county, Donegal, a maximum of around €7,000. People paid that because they wanted to live in rural Ireland. Now they're being penalised as a result of that. Now, this comes down to politics. And you can blame the last government. You can blame Santa Claus. You can blame the man on the moon. But the reality of this situation is that it's the Fine Gael and Labour government who are bringing in the property tax. It's also the same government and the same political parties who made a promise prior to the election in the Fine Gael manifesto. The words, "an annual recurring residential property tax" was unfair. Enda Kenny, speaking in 1994, said that it was unjust, immoral and illegal to tax a family home. That was the Taoiseach's words, the now Taoiseach's words back in 1994. It was unjust, immoral and illegal to tax the family home. So where do those words lie with the Taoiseach and with the Fine Gael party today? Because clearly there's a departure from the position that was evident back then. And where is the realisation? Where is the realisation that families are struggling? Look at the Irish League of Credit Union recent report, which shows that half of all adults are struggling to pay their bills on time. 42% of consumers have had to borrow money to pay bills in the past 12 months, and only 3 in 10 are able to save any money at the end of the month. People don't have the money. You can squeeze as much as you want, but you can't squeeze a lemon dry when there's no juice inside. And it's very, very unfair to be targeting people in this manner. This piece of legislation is giving exhaustive and creative and alarming power to the revenue commissioners. So the taxman is now going to be given exceptional powers to go and collect the money where individuals haven't the ability to pay. The revenue commissioners can bring it out of your salary, or bring it out of your social welfare payment, or indeed go a step further and bring it out of your bank account. Bring it out of your bank account. Now, I mean, this is highly irregular and absolutely unsatisfactory that the revenue commissioners would be given sweeping powers to do that to people who can't afford to pay bills. And in addition to that, the whole valuation process. Now, we know why this legislation has been rushed through the Dáil last night and rushed through the Senate today. It's to allow the revenue commissioners to write out to 1.9 million residential property owners next Monday. That's why we're rushing this through this week. And the revenue commissioners are going to write out with an indicative valuation on your property. Who gives the revenue commissioners the right to tell Joe Bloggs that their property is worth X or their property is worth Y? Who gives the revenue commissioners the right? It's Fine Gael and Labour, because you're in government. How dare you give that right? And how dare the Revenue Commissioners write out to the ordinary people of Ireland and say, your property's worth X, and then put them into a corner where they have to go and employ an auctioneer to carry out an evaluation. The average cost of an evaluation is €150. So what's effectively happening is that you're saying, listen lads, your property, it's going to cost you €350, but sure, go and get your own valuation, which will cost you another €150, and we might accept it or we might not. It could end up costing people €500 when in fact it should only cost about €100. It's an absolute disgrace. Minister, I plead with you, even at this late stage, to go back to the drawing board, because the ordinary people who own property can't afford this. Fianna Fáil put forward an alternative budget model at the last election, which taxed people who were earning over €100,000. We had it fully costed by the Department of Finance, your own department, Minister. It was an alternative budget, and it would have alleviated the hardship which is being inflicted by this piece of legislation. Please, Labour senators and Fine Gael senators on the other side, vote against this today. Stand up for the people of Donegal and across Ireland. Stand up to your convictions and don't be afraid of going before the people if you do that at the next election.